Hello guys, and welcome to the third part of functions videos. So this is supposed to be the last part of the functions videos, but after a second thought, I thought to extend it for further maybe one or two parts, as there are some couple stuff we have to discuss about functions, and they cannot all be in a single video, unless if you want very long video. So today we're going to talk about the anonymous functions, lambda functions or lambda expressions, as well as the higher order functions. So this video is going to all be about them. Let's first start with the anonymous function. So whenever you have a function that does a very simple thing, and you just gonna write a whole function to do that very simple thing, like this function right here, which just returns the sum of x and y, you could have this function saved in a variable, and you can declare it whatever you want in the application, and you can use it whatever you want. So say for example, we want to use or we want to make an anonymous function of this function right here. So anonymous functions are just like regular functions, except that they don't have a name. Say for example, I'm going to save it on a variable, so I'm going to call it val my add func, for example, is going to equal to, here I'm going to make the function. So the way to make an anonymous function is with the func keyword, same as the regular function, but here you don't add a name, you just open the parentheses and you specify the arguments list. So I'm going to specify my arguments list, which is x int, y int, and here you can add the return type just like normal function, and then you open the body here, and whatever you do here, it's just going to be stored within this variable right here. Great. Now, as it returns an int, we can just return the x plus y, just like our it's a small our regular function here. And if you're needed more something neat or needed more neater way to do that, you can do it with a single expression x plus y, and here's your function ready, and you can use it just like a normal function. Just let's delete this here. So I'm gonna print the return value from this function, which is called my add function 10 20. Duplicate this line, let's use the other values, 10, maybe 15 and 15. Now let's run the program. You're supposed to get 30, 40 and 30, and here's our result here. So just like a normal function, except it doesn't have a name, it's stored within a variable, and whenever you want to see the return type or the data type of this variable, it's of type int returns int. So this is called a functional data type. It's not like other data types we have discussed. This is called function data types, which represents by the parentheses here, which defines the parameters list or the arguments list for the function, and the arrow here specifies the return type. So the return type of this function is an int, which is the sum of two numbers. So this is called, for the last time, functional data type. Cool. Now let's learn about the lambda. So the lambda, they are just like an anonymous function, except for one thing, that they don't have this whole structure here. So the way to build a lambda or a lambda expression somehow differs from making an anonymous function. So let's see, we're gonna make the same functionality here, but with the lambda expression. So I'm gonna call it val my add func2 or my add func lambda. Okay, and this is now going to equal to what? First, we're not going to make it equal to something. We're going to first specify its functional type. So let's put the colon, and as we know, for the first function here, it was a function type int returns int. So here we're going to make it int and it returns an int. Great. You can either do it like them, or you can name it. So if you'd like to name the arguments, you could also do that. But for simplicity, I'm just gonna leave them without any names. Great. So here we specify the type, the colon, Now it's time to assign the lambda. So the lambda always start with curly braces, and here this what's between the curly braces acts like the body of the function. So just like here, this is the body of this function, or this one single expression, which is just the same as return x plus y. So this is the body of this function. And yeah, so this is the body of this function, just like the body of our lambda here. So whatever the lambda takes between its arguments list, it returns them or it returns them to us when within the body here. So here we have to name the two arguments here on top. So we're gonna, for example, name it num1 comma num2, and to use them or to access them within the body you have to add the arrow again, and now you have access to both of them. Now just add your calculation or your operation, which is num1 plus num2, and notice we don't have any errors, but we said that this lambda function returns an int. So where's the return keyword here? With lambdas, returns by default or automatically returns the last line. So for example, we know that this function returns an int. We have here num1 plus num2, which represents an integer value. So the lambda returns the operation here, or the sum of this operation here. And whenever, for example, we try to return some other data type that this function doesn't accept, for example, string, we're going to have an error saying we expected an int and you provided a string. So always keep in mind that the lambda returns the last line within its body. Great. Now let's use the lambda now to see the result. So my add func lambda, we can see that it takes two ints. I'm gonna try 100, 50, and it returns an int. If you press Ctrl Q, it returns an int, so we can store this value or print it automatically or directly. So I'm just gonna print it, and let's see the result. So we expect 150, and here's the result. I know, lambdas and anonymous functions are very great. They even make our code looks neater and professional. Maybe they're hard at first, but when you practice them and you master them, they're gonna come very handy. So to have another example on lambdas or anonymous functions, I'm gonna make a simple example here that takes the user input, and as a result, it returns every character capitalized, printed for the 4 times in the same line, then added a new line to print the next character, so on and so forth. So for that, I'm going to use a lambda. You could use a lambda or a anonymous function, whatever suits you, but I found the lambda to be the coolest way to write functions or to write anonymous functions. Great. Now let's start. So I'm going to make it val loop, for example, loop over. This is going to be the name of the variable. It's going to be of type of functional type, so it's going to be take a string type name, string of type name, or name of type string, and it's going to return nothing, just going to print unit, and now I'm going to assign it. Cool. Okay, we could either write it like this, or we could just get rid of that, and here I'm going to add name of type string, and it will work just the same. Don't forget to add the arrow, and here we go. Great. Now what we want to do is for every character here, we want to print it 4 times capitalized. So let's make a for loop for every char in the name, for every character in our name. We print the name for 4 times. So we're going to have another for loop for I in 1 to 4. What we're going to have, print, just print. So we want to print them in the same line, not in the new line. Print what? Print the char. So print the char. And whenever we're done printing the char for 4 times, we want to add a new line for the next char. So we can do it here. If I equal 4, just print a new line. And that's it. This is our function here. But we want it to be capitalized, so capitalized or to uppercase. Yeah, uppercase directly. And that's our function here. So let's just revise before we run. So the for loop within this function is going to run for every character in our name, which we're going to pass later, which is going to be Astro. So this for loop, the outer for loop, is going to run for 5 times. Then within the for loop, we have another for loop that runs for 4 times, from 1 to 4. And for every 4 time, or for every time within this range here, it prints the character which we have right here now, the A. So it prints the A for 4 times within the same line. Notice we didn't use Kotlin. 4 times. Then when it comes to 4, or when it comes to the number I in the 4 in the range, it checks if we have reached the 4, then we add a new line in order to print the S again, just like the A. Great. Let's try the function. So loop over, and here I'm going to pass Astro. Maybe I'm just going to make it dynamic. Just file name is equal to Kotlin, and here just pass the name, and let's run the program to verify our output. I didn't add a message, it's fine. I'm just gonna add Astro, and here we got the result. So AAA, SSS, TTT, arrow, and so on. So this is a way to write the function in lambda expression. And here we come to the ending of the video. I don't want the video to be too long. Yes, we didn't have much time for learning higher order functions, but this is gonna be for the next video. So until next time, stay tuned and thanks for watching.